So in the pre-revision review for Choices and Connections, we included a set of new review questions that no one had used before, that were specifically about diversity, inclusion, and culturally responsive pedagogy. We basically asked instructors, what does diversity, inclusion mean to you in the context of your course? Like, how important is diversity and inclusion to you? Like, what benefits does it have for you and for your students? Like, what do your students get out of culturally responsive pedagogy? And the response that we got was amazing. It was unanimous. Like, everyone said that culturally responsive pedagogy is important to them in their course. Literally every reviewer said that, which almost never happens in an editorial review for all of the reviewers to be unanimous like that. So that really signaled to us that this was something that we should make a major focus of this revision. There was a pretty lengthy review process with them on this book. I sent each chapter of the current edition, the second edition, to all the members of the editorial board, first of all, and we basically asked them to rate each chapter, just sort of to give it a letter grade, like A is the best, F is the worst, as to specifically the treatment of diversity and inclusion in the chapter. We also asked them to list one good example of culturally responsive pedagogy and one bad example of culturally responsive pedagogy in each chapter in the book. So that was the first thing that they did, and we got really, really good and helpful and actionable feedback from that. One that springs to mind is in the current edition, the second edition, we had a section about Cesar Chavez, who is a leader in the United Farm Workers labor movement, as an example of someone who used communication effectively to sort of make real change in the world. One of the board members said that while that example is good, it kind of excludes Dolores Huerta, who was another leader in that labor movement, sort of an almost equal co-leader in a lot of ways with Cesar Chavez. So we basically, based on that board member's feedback, revised that section. So now, instead of just being about Cesar Chavez, it's about both Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta. So the review questions that we used in the review for Choices and Connections, we are using them in reviews of other communication books. I'm using variants of them in reviews for an English book that I'm working on this year also. We had a meeting with all of the development editors in the Humanities where Alan and I basically told them a little bit about the story of Choices and Connections and what we've been doing with the board. And everyone seemed to respond really positively to that, so I'm hoping that it will lead to other editors to do other initiatives like this on other books, at least using the review questions, possibly forming their own editorial boards to look at this sort of thing in other books. I think that that's kind of the end goal, that it'll go beyond Choices and Connections to a lot of our other products as well.